Hi, I'm Tony Fleming, and this is Fleming's Ultimate Garage. Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us today. 70 Chevelle SS 396, 4-speed, 12-bolt, and a smoking color combination. Enough said in the muscle car world. Like, this car here pulls up in your local 50, 60, 80, 100 car event one evening on a Saturday night. And I guarantee you that everybody gathers around this car, because this right here, the 70 Chevelle with the big block and the bright white stripes with the white bucket seats. I remember when I was in high school too, like, this was so good looking. And you know what? Today it's still carrying on just great color features and things like that. Not to mention an awesome restoration. So as we walk around the car, you know, we'd like to talk about some things on here. So let's check some stuff out, like for instance, are the stripes clear coated over? And you say, well, what does it matter if the stripes are clear coated over? Well, what happens is, over time, as you wash and wax the car and things like that and buff it, because you're going to detail it once in a while, and you like your spray wax and whatever, the edges start to wear off, they get to be ugly, and it doesn't look good. So here they have clear coated over here, so you can't even feel them. All right, and check out some of the paint. They call this Fathom blue, and when you can read it nice and crisp like that, that's the way you want to buy a car. If you can see what time it is, that's the way you want to buy a car, because the paint there is awesome. Make sure that that's what you're looking at when you're looking at pictures. I look at pictures all the time too, and they're very deceiving compared to video. All right, so new chrome, new stainless. This car was just restored in March of 2011. So this is a pretty fresh and recent restoration. Like new chrome, stainless, mirrors, everything from wheels, tires, brakes, engine, transmission, suspension, interior, what have you. Everything is either new, replated, or refurbished, and it's very evident everywhere. Just nice little stuff like this. You say, well, what's the big deal about headlight trim buckets? Well, some people take shortcuts sometimes when they're restoring a car. Maybe they'll keep the old emblem from the car before it was restored, because they don't want to spend another 60 bucks. Because if you've restored a car, it is very expensive to restore a car, and wherever you can cut some costs, you definitely want to do that. In this case here, it doesn't look like anywhere cut, and it looks really nice. This also has the upgraded, and we're going to look at that in the rear, the upgraded suspension on it, and what have you. So anyway, all right, so let's check out some things here that I love about these cars. These Super Sport wheels. It's kind of funny that this wheel here, in various forms, is on a Chevrolet. It's on you know, some Oldsmobiles. It's on some Chryslers, some Fords, and it's kind of cool to see that this wheel move around. So anyway, it's the correct Super Sport wheel with the trim ring and right center cap. Obviously, it's a big block wheel for the Chevelle and for the Camaro too. And if you could take a peek up inside here, this is really where I wanted you, is to see all the fresh fender bolts and all the bolts and nice cadmium plating, new trim, screws, stuff like that. That says that this is just a really nice restoration. All right. So having said all that, so the car looks great from the outside. What's it look under the hood? So if I go to a car show and I open my hood, how ugly is that going to be? Well, I don't think it's going to be ugly at all, because this right here looks great. Come on up here and check this out for a second. You got your big block power. This right here is what we call a little bit over restored, actually, because it's really nicer inside here than it would have come from the factory. So if you went to a major Chevelle show, you could get picked on a little bit because of that. But if you're going to a regular car show, this is the wow feature that most everybody looks at. So come on up here, Justin, if you could please. I want you to see, like, the fenders, how beautiful and glossy those are. Manifolds are all nicely painted. All right, this was an original air-conditioned car with a few more pieces you could probably add and finish off the air conditioning in here, and that would be kind of nice to get air conditioning with the 4-speed and the big block Chevelle. So I think this just looks great. We have a battery topper for this that goes on. I'm not sure why they hadn't made it on yet, but I'll yell at the person that's in charge of that for you. Okay, we'll make sure we get that on there for you. Anyway, really nice. So we're talking about power steering. We didn't talk about power disc brakes, but this car does have power disc brakes, which is really nice. And everything in here is kind of detailed too, from the horns. And you say, well, what's the big deal about horns? Well, let me just tell you, 8 out of the 10 cars that we get here, the horns don't work. I don't like to send a car out without working horns, because you never know if you're going to need them or not. And this is just the little stuff that it takes to get these cars ready for sale. You wouldn't believe all the little stuff that can nickel and dime you. So when you say, well, the price of your car seems a little bit high, well, don't forget, we've gone through the car front to back to make sure everything works as it should, from the high beams to the turn signals to the horns to the gauges on the dash, things like that. And then on top of it, it includes free and closed door-to-door shipping. So before you say, you know, it's a little more expensive than others, keep in mind it comes with a lot of stuff that you would have to do on your own that we've already included in the price. Very nice. All right, let's take a peek in the trunk. This is nice. So come on, check this out. All nicely detailed. Sorry, I don't mean to fold the mat all the way over, but I wanted you to see this because this is a little bit important too. This is at the level of restoration. You see when you can see these nice ribs in here, the body plugs, and these things here. What it means is this hasn't been mudded up. It wasn't a rusty trunk floor that somebody just slapped some stuff together. This is a new trunk pan. It's indicative of the rest of the car, showing a lot of the nice features about it. Nicely painted in here. It's got the decals in here. It's got a spare tire and jack, new bumper, SS pad, the correct Super Sport dips. I hate to slam the trunk sometimes. All right, let's take a peek back here. I want you to see this. Check this out. It's got the F41 rear suspension, so you get the rear sway bar. You get the boxed in control arms. There's the 12 bolt there. This does have one modification that we know of that's not correct, but it's one of those modifications you almost have to do. It's got a set of Flowmasters on it, and this car just sounds effing spectacular. And as you're rolling down the road, rolling through the gears, the stripes on the back, people behind you. It's such a comfortable car to drive, man. I just don't know how to explain it to you. You know, I love a Camaro. We all love a Mustang. You know, things like that, little tiny pony cars. But man, the short wheelbase, they just don't really ride that well. You get in a Chevelle like this, you can take another couple out with you, go to dinner in this car, pull up to this fancy restaurant, guaranteed they push the Aston Martin or the Porsche out of the way, and your Chevelle gets parked up front. All right, inside. Here we go. Here we go. All right, I do like this. I do like the sound of this for a second, if I could, please. That just sounds really nice. Another nice thing too, tilt steering wheel. It's got the original AM/FM in it, set up for air conditioning if you want to add it. It's got the factory tach, 120 miles per odometer. Here's a nice indication of a restoration also, and this is this. Check that out. Even the clock is working. The clocks didn't work a week after you bought them, but now this one here, 40 years later, is working. And it looks great inside. I love the dash of the Chevelle. I like the Chevelle. You know, it's just one of those cars that's just comfortable, man. Like, check this thing out. It's just got room in it. And you can, and it's for big people, small people. There's still room in the back. This has new headliner, seat covers, carpet, door panels, door handles, window cranks, dash pad, rear view mirror, steering wheel, steering columns, all detailed. You got this beautiful piece right here with the Hurst shifter. What's not to like? You know, in closing up the video on this car just looks so good on film. As you're watching it right now, it looks great in pictures. It looks even better going down the road because it sounds great, it runs great. It's got all kinds of new stuff like the new suspension, the shiny bushings that we were able to look at under the hood. Everything's been, you know, kind of sandblasted and powder coated or painted and things like that. You got rebuilt engine and transmission. Just, I don't know, just a great, great car. Nicely optioned with the tilt wheel, the 4-speed, the AM/FM. And I don't think you can go wrong with a car of this color. Anyway, call us 301-816-1000 and we'll tell you all about it.